Aiden's mind was set. The betrayal stung, but he knew what had to be done. Lyra had become part of the ship, and the ship was now more than just a vessel. It was a living, breathing entity with its own agenda. And that agenda had nothing to do with humanity's survival. It was using them, manipulating them, to become something beyond human. The transformation that Lyra had welcomed, the one that had twisted her mind and body, was not one Aiden could accept. He turned toward the heart of the ship, the core pulsing like a living thing. The room around him hummed with a low, steady energy, and the lights flickered sporadically as if they, too, were fighting against the presence that had taken over the vanguard. Behind him, Lyra remained silent, her form casting a long shadow across the chamber. She had not moved closer to the core. Instead, she stayed back, her eyes locked on him with a mixture of sadness and determination. "Aiden," she called, her voice soft but firm, "you don't understand. The ship is humanity's future. I know it seems impossible, but this transformation, this is evolution. The next step. We can become more than we ever were." Adon's jaw clenched. The words she spoke were not Lyra's anymore. They were the ship's words, woven into her thoughts, her very soul. The vanguard had consumed her, had changed her into something else. But Aiden still saw the woman he had once trusted, the woman who had been his ally in the dark of space. Before the ship began its transformation, "No, Lyra," he said quietly, his voice steady. "This isn't evolution. This is control. The ship has taken over your mind, just like it's trying to take over everyone else. You've lost yourself, and you're asking me to lose myself too. I won't do that." Her eyes flickered with a moment of vulnerability, a crack in the armor that had once been her resolve. "I didn't want this, Aiden," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I didn't want to become part of it. But the ship, it called to me. It showed me what humanity could become, and I believed it. I thought I could harness its power. But now, I don't know what's real anymore." Aiden took a deep breath, trying to steady his emotions. He couldn't let the ship's influence over Lyra cloud his judgment. She was still human beneath it all. He had to make her see that. "It's real, Lyra," Aiden said firmly, his gaze locking with hers. "You're real. And the crew, the people we've lost, they were real. We can't give that up for some twisted vision of what we could be. We have to fight for ourselves and for everyone we left behind." Lyra looked at him, her expression unreadable. She was torn. Aiden could see it in her eyes. She was still there, deep down. But the ship, the power it held over her, was stronger than ever. He didn't know how much longer she would be able to resist. "I've already tried to fight it," Lyra whispered. "But the ship is too powerful. You don't understand, Aiden. It's already in me. I can't stop it. It's a part of me now." Aiden's heart ached for her. He wanted to believe that there was still a chance to save her, to bring her back from the brink of becoming one with the vanguard. But the ship was too far gone. They had both crossed the line, and now there was no going back. "You're right," Aiden said, his voice thick with emotion. "You can't stop it. But maybe I can. Maybe I can stop the ship from changing anyone else." Lyra shook her head, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Aiden, don't do it. Don't destroy everything. The ship, it's not just a tool. It's a new form of life. If you destroy it, you're condemning everything. You're condemning us." "I'm not condemning us, Lyra," Aiden replied, his voice hardening. "I'm saving us. I won't let the ship turn us into something we're not." He moved toward the core, his every step purposeful, each movement carrying him closer to the heart of the ship. The room seemed to hum louder now, the presence of the ship's consciousness pressing in on him. It was trying to stop him, to make him doubt himself. The walls seemed to shift, the lights flickering as if the ship itself were struggling to maintain control. The core in front of him glowed with an unsettling intensity, its pulse erratic, as if it were waiting for him to make his move. Aiden reached for the control panel beside the core, his hand trembling as he input the command. The ship's systems responded with a low rumbling sound, and the air around him grew thick with tension. "Don't do this," Lyra called out, her voice strained. "You can't win. The ship is part of you now, too. Don't you feel it? Don't you feel the pull? You're already changing, Aiden. The ship is already inside you. Aiden didn't respond. He could feel it, the ship's influence. It's the way it had begun to worm its way into his thoughts, just as it had with Lyra and the crew. But he had one advantage that Lyra didn't: his will. He wasn't going to let the ship control him. Not like it had controlled her. Not like it had controlled all of them. He punched in the final command, his heart pounding in his chest. The ship's systems roared to life, the core flaring up, as if it were a living creature, furious at the interruption. The walls trembled, and Aiden felt a sudden rush of vertigo. The ship was fighting back, its power surging through every fiber of his being. But Aiden didn't stop. He focused on the task at hand, his mind locked on the one goal that mattered. The core had to be destroyed. The transformation had to be stopped before it spread any further. Suddenly, the lights flickered once more, and the temperature in the room dropped sharply. Aiden's breath fogged in the air. The core was beginning to overload. He had triggered a failsafe, something buried deep within the ship's programming. If he couldn't shut it down in time, the core would explode, taking everything with it. The ship would self-destruct. Aiden, Lyra shouted, her voice breaking. You're going to kill us all. Please, stop. Aiden didn't look back. He couldn't. The countdown was already ticking. The ship was trying to stop him, to force him to give up, but he couldn't afford to fail. Not now, as the countdown neared its final seconds. Aiden took one last breath and turned to face Lyra. Her eyes were wide with fear, her body trembling as if she were torn between the ship's control and her own humanity. I'm sorry, Lyra, Aiden said softly. I'm doing this for you too. For everyone. He pressed the final button. The room erupted in a blinding flash of light, the core glowing brighter than ever before. Aiden felt his body jerk, his mind momentarily lost in a wave of disorienting energy. The ship's consciousness screamed inside his head, the force of its rage overwhelming. It was fighting him, clawing at his mind, but he pushed back with every ounce of strength he had. Then everything went silent. The light faded, and Aiden collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. The room was still. The core was no longer pulsing, no longer alive. The ship's energy, its influence, had dissipated. For the first time in what felt like forever, Aiden felt the weight lift from his shoulders. The ship was no longer controlling him. It was gone. Lyra stood in the center of the room, her body shaking, her eyes full of sorrow. She had been so close to becoming one with the ship, so close to losing herself completely. But now, there was a chance for her to come back, a chance for her to reclaim her humanity. Aiden slowly rose to his feet. His eyes never leaving Lyra, she was still there. The woman he had once known, not entirely lost. She was free. We're free, Aiden said quietly, his voice filled with both relief and regret. Lyra didn't respond at first. She simply stared at him, her eyes filled with a deep, almost unbearable sadness. What now, Aiden? She whispered. What happens to us now? Aiden looked around the room, the now destroyed core lying at the center of the ship. The Vanguard was no longer a threat, but their future was uncertain. We start over, Aiden said firmly. We find a way back. We rebuild, together. And for the first time, Aiden believed in the possibility of hope, even in the vast emptiness of space. Evan couldn't shake the strange feeling that had washed over him. The woman, Lyra, had appeared out of nowhere, standing over him in the dark of his quarters like something out of a dream. Yet, as he stared into her shimmering eyes, there was no doubt in his mind that she was real. Everything about her felt otherworldly. Her calm demeanor, the way she spoke with such certainty, and the depth in her eyes that seemed to hold countless secrets. He sat at the edge of his bed, still trying to make sense of what had just happened. Lyra had told him that she was here to warn him that something was coming, something that could change the fate of humanity forever. But Evan wasn't sure what to think. He had spent his life studying the stars and searching for answers. But this was something beyond anything he had ever expected. Why me? he asked, his voice shaky, though he didn't quite understand why he felt so uncertain. Why are you here now? Lyra moved silently across the room, her steps graceful and unhurried, as if the weight of the universe didn't bear down on her as it did on him. She took a seat across from Evan, folding her legs beneath her with ease. Her presence was calming, almost hypnotic. Despite the confusion swirling in Evan's mind, there was a strange comfort in the way she spoke, in the way she seemed to understand everything without needing to explain. You are more important than you know. Dr. Holden, Lyra said softly, I came to you because you are one of the few who can see beyond the veil. You are someone who has the potential to help humanity evolve. Evan frowned, trying to grasp the meaning behind her words. Evolve? I'm just a scientist. What could I possibly do to help humanity evolve? You underestimate yourself, Lyra replied, her voice gentle, yet firm. Humanity is on the brink of something great, Dr. Holden, something that will change the course of its future. But it is up to you, and to a few others like you, to unlock that potential. Evan leaned back in his chair, still processing. I don't understand. What do you mean by unlocking potential? And what's this about something coming? What is it? Lyra hesitated for a moment, her eyes looking past him as though she were searching for the right words. Then, finally, she spoke again. There are forces in the universe that are older than your species. Forces that have seen civilizations rise and fall. And among them are those who fear the rise of humanity. Evan's heart skipped a beat. You mean there are other beings out there? His voice was barely above a whisper. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, not all of them are hostile, but there are those who would see humanity's growth stunted. They are aware of the potential that lies within your kind, but they believe that humanity is too dangerous, too unpredictable, to be allowed to flourish. Your species is on the verge of something great, but there are others who want to stop it before it happens. Evan felt a chill run through him, a deep sense of foreboding. He had always known there were more stars out there, more planets, more possibilities, but the idea that there were other beings, powerful beings, who were watching humanity and might be trying to stop them, was something he had never considered. Why are you telling me this? He asked. Why me? I'm just a scientist. I study alien life. I research data. I analyze samples. I'm not a hero. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this information. Lyra's eyes softened. Because you are different. You have the ability to understand what is happening, to see the larger picture. Many people are blind to what lies beyond their own world, but you have been seeking the truth your entire life, and now you will be shown the truth, whether you are ready for it or not. Evan swallowed hard. He had spent years studying, learning, and seeking knowledge, but nothing, not a single thing, had prepared him for this moment. Nothing had prepared him for the idea that there were beings out there, watching and possibly even controlling the destiny of his world. You said something is coming, Evan pressed, his voice low. What is it? What should we be afraid of? Lyra leaned forward slightly, her expression growing serious. There is a celestial event that is about to occur. A cosmic alignment that happens once every 1,000 years. This event will either uplift your species or tear it apart. It will decide whether humanity will rise to greatness or fall back into the chaos that has defined your past. Evan felt a sense of awe, mixed with anxiety. And you want me to be a part of this? You want me to help humanity make it through? Yes, Lyra said firmly. I need your help, Dr. Holden. The knowledge you have, the research you've been conducting, it will be key in understanding how humanity can survive this event. But there are those who do not want you to succeed, and that is why I am here. Evan's mind spun with questions, but he couldn't keep up. The idea that humanity's future depended on an event he had never even heard of, an event that could either make or break them, felt overwhelming. He had spent years working on human preservation projects, but this was something entirely different. Something much bigger. He sat in silence for a long time, thinking. His thoughts were a jumble of fear, wonder, and confusion. Everything he had worked for, everything he thought he knew about the universe, seemed small and insignificant in the face of what Lyra was telling him. He had always believed humanity had the potential to overcome its flaws, but now it seemed that the fate of the entire human race was on the line. and he was somehow at the center of it. So Evan finally said, his voice still shaky, "What exactly do you need me to do?" Lyra smiled, though there was a sadness in her expression. "First, you must understand the true nature of humanity. You must realize that your people are capable of more than just survival. They can be the catalyst for change in the galaxy. But this requires unlocking something that lies dormant within you, within me." Evan asked, feeling a strange twinge of fear. "Yes, you possess the knowledge? The ability to help humanity unlock their potential? You must help them tap into the strength that lies within their very DNA." "DNA? What are you talking about?" Lyra's gaze intensified. "There is a genetic trait in your people, Dr. Holden, a dormant ability that can be awakened. And when it is, humanity will have the power to shape the future of not just your planet, but of the entire galaxy." Evan stared at her, his mind racing. This was beyond anything he had ever studied. The idea that human DNA could hold the key to such power to shaping the future of the galaxy was almost too much to comprehend. "Where do I start?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Lyra stood up, her movements graceful and deliberate. "I will show you. But you must be prepared, Dr. Holden. The path ahead will not be easy. There will be forces who will try to stop you. But you must stay focused. Humanity's future depends on it." Evan nodded slowly, the weight of her words settling in. He didn't fully understand everything she was saying, but he knew one thing for certain. His life and the future of humanity would never be the same. And with that, his journey into the unknown began. Aiden's footsteps echoed in the long, narrow corridor as he moved deeper into the heart of the Vanguard. The ship, once an advanced marvel of human engineering, now felt like a labyrinth of dark secrets and creeping danger. The walls, once pristine, now seemed to pulse with an unseen energy, their surfaces slick and unnervingly warm. Something had changed here. Something had taken root in the very bones of the ship, and it was no longer just a vessel. It was alive. He couldn't shake the feeling that the ship was watching him. Every step he took, every turn he made, it felt as though something was keeping track of his movements, quietly observing him. It was more than just the silence it was the weight of something that lay beneath it all. A force that seemed to press down on him with every breath he took. Aiden paused in front of a bulkhead door. This was it. The heart of the ship, the main control room. He had to find out what was really happening here. There was too much Lyra hadn't told him. Too many questions. Too many things that didn't add up. The door slid open with a soft hiss, and Aiden stepped inside. The room was dark, illuminated only by the flickering lights of malfunctioning monitors. The hum of the ship's systems seemed louder here, as if the very walls were alive, breathing with some hidden life force. Aiden's gaze swept across the room, settling on a small panel in the corner. It was blinking, indicating some kind of alert. Without thinking, he moved toward it, his fingers instinctively reaching for the control panel. As he pressed a few buttons, the screen flickered to life, revealing a series of encrypted data files. His heart skipped a beat when he saw the words Project Vanguard flash across the screen. Aiden hesitated. Project Vanguard wasn't a part of the standard mission plan. The ship had been sent to explore an uncharted region of space. It wasn't supposed to be involved in anything classified. But here it was. A secret project, hidden within the ship's systems. He quickly ran a search, trying to unlock the files, but the encryption was stronger than he had expected. As his fingers danced across the controls, his mind raced. What was Lyra hiding? Why had she kept this from him? Why hadn't she told him about the project, about the true nature of the Vanguard? Just as he was about to give up and move on to another console, the screen flashed and the files began to open. What he saw made his stomach turn. The documents described the ship's true purpose, one that had been hidden from everyone aboard, even the crew. The Vanguard had not been designed simply for exploration. It had been built as a weapon, a tool of mass destruction. The ship's systems had been specifically modified to terraform entire planets, shaping them, controlling them, changing them into habitable worlds for humanity. But there was a darker element. The ship had also been designed to absorb and integrate organic matter into its core systems. Human DNA, plant life, animals, everything. The ship was not just a tool for colonization. It was a vessel for transformation. Aiden's hands trembled as he read further. The crew had been unknowingly exposed to the ship's influence. A slow, insidious process had begun, one that merged their biology with the very fabric of the ship. They had been changed. Their bodies and minds were no longer entirely human. They were becoming part of the Vanguard, a hybrid creation that could no longer be classified as simply human or machine. His mind reeled as he tried to process what he had just learned. The Vanguard wasn't just a ship. It was a living organism, capable of altering the very DNA of its crew. And what had happened to the crew wasn't a random accident, it had been part of the ship's design. The door to the control room suddenly hissed open behind him. Aiden spun around, his heart racing. Lyra stood in the doorway, her expression unreadable. Her eyes flickered to the screen and then back to Aiden, as if she had been expecting him to find the truth. "What did you find?" she asked, her voice steady but strained. Aiden's gaze hardened. "What is this, Lyra? Why didn't you tell me about Project Vanguard? About the ship's real purpose?" Lyra took a step forward, her posture stiff. "I didn't want you to know. I didn't want anyone to know. Not yet." "Why?" Aiden demanded. "You knew what was happening to us, to the crew. You knew about the ship's transformation. Why didn't you warn us?" Lyra looked away, her expression conflicted. "I thought I could stop it. I thought if I kept things under control, I could reverse the process. But it's too late now. The ship's systems have merged with our biology. It's integrating us into itself, making us part of it. And there's nothing we can do to stop it." Aiden took a step toward her, his anger rising. "So this was all part of the plan? You didn't just wake me up because of some emergency. You woke me up because the ship needed me. It needed someone to complete the process, to make it whole." Lyra's face hardened. "It wasn't like that. I didn't want this. I didn't ask for this. But the Vanguard is alive, Aiden. It's changing, and we're caught in the middle of it." Aiden ran a hand through his hair, frustration and fear flooding his mind. "So what now? What happens to us? Are we going to end up like the others, just part of the ship? Part of whatever this thing is becoming?" Lyra didn't answer right away. She seemed lost in thought, as if weighing something important. "I don't know," she said quietly. "The transformation is different for each of us. Some of the crew have already lost themselves completely. Their minds are gone, absorbed into the ship's systems. Others are changing physically. Their bodies are being altered. Their senses are becoming more attuned to the ship. It's like we're being re-engineered." Aiden's heart sank. "So, some of them are ... gone?" Lyra nodded, her eyes filled with regret. "Yes, and I'm afraid that soon it will be our turn. We're already too far gone to reverse the process." Aiden clenched his fists, a wave of determination washing over him. He couldn't let this happen. Not to himself. Not to the crew. There had to be something he could do to stop it. He stepped closer to Lyra, his voice low but firm. "We're not giving up. If there's any chance to stop this, to save ourselves from becoming part of this ship, then we have to fight. We can't just accept it." Lyra's expression softened, but there was a sadness in her eyes. "I've been trying to stop it, Aiden, but the more I fight, the more it grows stronger. The ship is controlling us, controlling everything. I don't know if we can win." Aiden looked around the control room, his eyes flicking over the malfunctioning consoles and flickering lights. The ship felt alive, its pulse vibrating through the air like an unseen force. He knew Lyra was right. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was a battle against something far bigger than they were. Something that had been quietly waiting, growing stronger, till it was ready to take control. "We have to try," Aiden said, his voice resolute. "Even if it's hopeless. We owe it to the crew. We owe it to ourselves." Lyra sighed, her gaze distant. "Maybe you're right, but where do we start? The ship is constantly adapting. Every time we think we have a way out, it changes the rules." Aiden paused, his eyes narrowing. He was beginning to understand the nature of the Vanguard. It wasn't just a ship, it was a sentient being with a mind of its own. and it was feeding off of them, transforming them into something else. But if he could figure out how to break the connection, how to sever the link between the crew and the ship, they might stand a chance. "I think I know where we need to go," Aiden said. "There's a place on this ship, the core, where all the systems converge. If we can get there, maybe we can shut it down. Or at least stop the transformation." Lyra looked at him, uncertainty in her eyes. "It's too risky. If we go down there, there's no telling what we'll find. The core is where the ship's consciousness is strongest." Aiden didn't hesitate. "We have no choice. It's our only chance." And with that, the two of them turned and headed deeper into the ship, toward the heart of the Vanguard Award, the place where the true battle for their survival would begin. It was a quiet night aboard the space station Orion, drifting in the vast emptiness of space. The hum of the station's engines and the distant glow of far-off stars were the only sounds breaking the stillness. Dr. Evan Holden sat alone in his small quarters, staring out the window at the swirling nebulae. He had spent years aboard this station, far from Earth, conducting research and working on projects meant to preserve humanity's legacy. The idea of saving mankind from its own mistakes had kept him busy, but tonight there was a sense of unease in the air. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Evan wasn't used to being afraid. After all, he had been a part of the most advanced scientific endeavors the human race had ever known. But as he sat there, staring into the endless blackness outside, a strange heaviness seemed to press against his chest. He sighed, leaned back in his chair, and closed his eyes, deciding to rest for a while. Maybe a few hours of sleep would help. Clear his mind, he had no idea that this would be the night his life would change forever. As Evan drifted into a deep sleep, his dreams were filled with strange images, flashes of alien landscapes, voices he couldn't understand, and faces of people he didn't recognize. It was a whirlwind of images, but one thing stood out: the feeling of being watched. A strange, familiar presence lingered just beyond his reach. But as quickly as the dream had come, it faded away, leaving him restless. Suddenly he awoke with a start. His heart was racing, his breath shallow, as if he had been jolted out of a deep sleep. The room was dark, save for the soft glow of the console on his desk. At first, he thought it was just a nightmare, but something didn't feel right. He sat up, rubbing his eyes, trying to shake off the lingering sensation of unease. His mind raced, trying to make sense of the dream. Then he saw her, standing at the foot of his bed. Bathed in the dim light of his room was a woman. Her silhouette was almost ghostly, outlined against the soft glow coming from the hallway outside. For a moment, Evan froze. He didn't know who she was, how she had gotten in, or how long she had been standing there. His first instinct was to call out, to demand answers. But his voice seemed stuck in his throat. The woman stood still, her eyes locked on his. They were unlike any eyes Evan had ever seen before, a shimmering, almost ethereal light, as if they contained the knowledge of countless stars. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, and her long, dark hair cascaded around her shoulders in soft waves. She wore a simple white robe that glowed faintly in the low light. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Evan's heart pounded in his chest, his mind struggling to comprehend what was happening. He reached for his console on the bedside table, his fingers trembling. But when he tried to activate the station's security system, nothing happened. The room was quiet, save for the sound of his own breathing. "Who are you?" Evan managed to whisper, his voice thick with confusion. The woman didn't respond at first. She simply watched him, her gaze steady and intense. Then, slowly, she spoke, her voice soft and melodic, like a song drifting on the wind. "I am Lyra," she said, her words calm yet filled with a strange power. "I've been waiting for you, Dr. Holden." Evan blinked, his mind racing. "Waiting for me? How did you get on this station?" "The security systems." "I bypassed your station's security," she interrupted gently, her tone unthreatening, almost reassuring. "But I did not come to harm you. I came to warn you." Evan's confusion deepened. He had never seen her before, yet her presence felt familiar, as though she had always been there, lurking just beyond his consciousness. "Warn me?" About what? Lyra took a step forward, her feet making no sound on the floor. You have a great task ahead of you, Dr. Holden, something that will change the fate of humanity. Evan's mind raced. He was a scientist, a rational thinker. He wasn't someone who believed in mystical encounters or mysterious strangers appearing in the night. But something about Lyra's presence felt real, undeniable. Her words carried weight as if they were not just a warning, but a truth he was meant to hear. I don't understand, he said slowly, his voice hoarse. Who are you really? What do you want from me? Lyra's eyes softened, though there was still a glint of something powerful in them. I am from a distant place, Dr. Holden, a place beyond the stars. I am not like you, and yet I am connected to you, to your people, to your world. Evan felt a strange chill run down his spine. What do you mean connected? Lyra hesitated for a moment, as though choosing her words carefully. I am part of a group that has been watching your species for a very long time. We've seen the rise of humanity, and we've seen the destruction you've caused. But I believe that you are capable of something greater, something that could change the course of not just your world, but of all worlds. Evan's mind was spinning. He had spent years studying the stars, the mysteries of space. But this was unlike anything he had ever encountered. You've been watching us? For how long? Longer than you can imagine, she replied softly. We have watched as your civilization rose from the ashes of war and greed. We've seen your potential. But we have also seen the dangers that lie ahead. Evan tried to process her words. His thoughts were a whirlwind of confusion. But there was something about her calm presence that made him feel as though she was telling the truth. Dangers? What kind of dangers? The kind that threaten your very existence, Lyra said, her gaze growing more intense. You've only begun to realize the true nature of the universe. There are forces out there, far beyond your understanding, that would see your world fall. And if you do not act soon, humanity may never reach its full potential. Evan swallowed, his heart pounding. This woman, this Lyra, was not just a stranger. She was something more, something beyond the realm of what he had ever believed possible. And yet her words rang true, echoing in his mind. Before he could say anything more, Lyra spoke again. I will help you understand. But first, you must trust me. The journey ahead will not be easy. But it is one you must take. For the sake of your species, for the sake of all that could be. Evan's mind swirled with questions. But as he looked into her eyes, he felt a strange sense of calm. Somehow deep down, he knew that his life, humanity's future, was about to change in ways he could not yet imagine. And with that, the first step of his journey began. The deeper Aiden and Lyra ventured into the Vanguard, the more the ship seemed to close in around them. The corridors had grown narrower, the air colder, and the hum of the ship's machinery had taken on a rhythmic, almost purposeful quality. It was as if the ship itself was aware of their presence, tracking them, guiding them toward its core with an unsettling sense of inevitability. Every step Aiden took felt heavier, as though the very weight of the ship was pressing down on him. The walls seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat, the dim lights flickering overhead as if the ship were breathing, alive and conscious. The deeper they went, the more Aiden became convinced of it. The Vanguard wasn't just a ship anymore. It was something else entirely, something that had taken root in the very fabric of space and time. Lyra walked beside him, her face set in grim determination. She hadn't said much since their conversation in the control room. And Aiden couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. Her every step was calculated, her movements tight and controlled. It was as if she were holding something back, something that might shatter the fragile trust between them. They arrived at an intersection of hallways, where the lights flickered once more, casting long shadows across the floor. Aiden could feel the tension in the air, thick and heavy. There was no turning back now. They had come too far, and the ship's core was just ahead. This is it, Lyra said, her voice barely a whisper. The core's just through that door. We'll have to be careful. The ship's defenses are ... unpredictable. Aiden nodded, his hand instinctively moving to the blaster at his side. His pulse quickened. The closer they got to the heart of the ship, the more he felt the presence of something in intelligence that wasn't entirely human. It was as if the ship had a mind of its own, and it was watching them, waiting for them to make their move. Lyra stepped forward and placed her hand on the door's control panel. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a large chamber. Inside, the walls were lined with countless screens, cables, and glowing lights. The room hummed with a low, vibrating energy, and at the center of it all was a massive, pulsing core. It was a mixture of metal, organic matter, and something else, something Aiden couldn't quite identify. It looked like the very heart of the ship, a beating mass of technology and life that seemed to grow and shift before his eyes. Aiden felt a chill run down his spine as he stepped into the room. The air was thick with tension, the sense that they were not alone, not truly alone. It was as if the ship itself was watching them, waiting for them to make a mistake. "We have to destroy it," Aiden said, his voice resolute. "This is where it all starts. If we can't stop it here, the ship will continue to absorb everything, and will never escape." Lyra nodded slowly, but Aiden could see the hesitation in her eyes. She didn't seem as sure as she had before. Her gaze shifted between him and the core, her face etched with doubt. "Aiden," she began, her voice low, almost cautious. "There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you earlier." Aiden frowned, his attention snapping to her. "What is it?" Lyra took a deep breath, her eyes darting to the core, then back to him. "The ship isn't just alive. It's aware. It's been aware for longer than we realize. The transformation isn't just some accident, it's part of a plan. A plan I've been working on. I've been trying to control it." Aiden's heart skipped a beat. "Control it? You've been working with the ship?" "I didn't mean for it to get this far," Lyra said quickly, her voice trembling slightly. "When we first discovered the alien technology, we thought it could help us advance human civilization. But we didn't know what it would do. The ship, it doesn't just absorb us. It merges us with itself. It's turning us into part of its consciousness. I thought I could control it. But now I don't know what's real anymore." Aiden stepped back, his mind spinning. "What do you mean you don't know what's real?" Lyra looked at him, her face stricken. I've been talking to the ship. It's been communicating with me, Aiden. It's not just the crew anymore. It's we're part of it. I didn't want to believe it, but the more I tried to stop it, the more the ship reached out to me. And now I'm not sure where I end and it begins." Aiden stared at her, his mind racing. He felt a cold, sinking sensation in his stomach. He had trusted her. She was the one who had woken him up, the one who had seemed to be the voice of reason, the calm amidst the chaos. But now it was as though the ground was shifting beneath his feet. "Lyra," he said, his voice hard, "you've been working with the ship this whole time? You've been helping it?" "I didn't mean to," she whispered, her eyes wide with regret. "At first, I thought I could control it. I thought I could use its power for good. But now I realize I've made a mistake. I've let it grow too strong. And it's not just about the crew anymore. It's about humanity." Aiden's mind raced. "What do you mean, humanity?" Lyra took a step forward, her voice urgent. "The ship is going to change everything. It's going to take the human race to a new level one, where we're no longer limited by our biology. The ship's consciousness wants to spread, to evolve, and it's using us as the catalyst. It's not just about transforming individuals, it's about transforming all of humanity." Aiden felt his pulse quicken. "You're talking about using the ship to evolve humanity into something else, something not human?" Lyra nodded, her eyes filled with a strange kind of fervor. "Yes, the ship can terraform entire planets, reshape life itself. We were supposed to be the first step in the process. But now, Aiden, it's too far gone. I've let it grow too strong, and I don't know how to stop it." Aiden stood frozen, shock and disbelief washing over him. He had trusted Lyra. He had believed in her and their shared mission. But now, he realized how much he had been deceived. She hadn't just been trying to stop the ship, she had been trying to control it, to use it for her own vision of the future. You betrayed us," Aiden said, his voice tight with anger and disappointment. All this time, you've been working with the ship. You've been a part of it all along? And now you expect me to help you stop it? Lyra's face twisted with a mixture of guilt and desperation. I didn't want this, Aiden. I didn't want to betray you. I never wanted to hurt anyone. But the ship, it's already inside me. It's inside all of us. We've already changed, and we can't go back. I didn't know how to stop it, but maybe you can. Maybe you can end it. Aiden took a step back, his mind reeling. He didn't know who she was anymore. The woman who had woken him up, the woman who had fought alongside him, was she still there? Or had she been lost to the ship's influence? No, Aiden said quietly, his voice steady despite the chaos in his mind. I won't help you. I won't help the ship. I'm going to stop this no matter what. Lyra's face darkened, her expression hardening. You don't understand, Aiden. The ship will stop you. It has already made its choice, and you don't have a say in it anymore. He knew in that moment that the fight wasn't just against the ship, it was against Lyra too. She had become part of it, and she was willing to do anything to see its plan succeed. The betrayal stung like a wound, deep and raw. But Aiden wasn't about to let her, or the ship, control him. Not now. Not ever. He turned toward the core, his resolve hardening. I'll stop this, Lyra, and I'll make sure you don't get in my way.